Welcome. This is Crime Queen. If you're joining us for the first time, we are continuing a second presentation on our template for sacrifice. It is the template for sacrifice, but it's really the template that helps us to understand numerology. So sacrifice, the essence of sacrifice derived from Easter, Jesus Christ's crucifixion, but this is really enabling us to optimize. Be conscious of the words we use, the numbers that surrounds us, and see how we can use them or make use of them that we can become better beings, lovelier beings. See the beauty that we have been put into this world, because we have been focused with the idea that we are in a terrible world. But I believe if we are trying to now focus our attention, nourishing the goodness that it has and provides, of course, this is what is going to evolve. So thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'm continuing here from the presentation on this template to numerology. I'm going to perhaps name this slightly different, or because I have got templates to numerology already, which are very useful as well. These templates, as I said before, they are more thorough. It doesn't just go into, you probably need to explore just the simple way of having the simple formula, but I'm going to go over this again. The idea is that all the letters of the alphabet comes to, from here, A to 9. It would be A to I. A to I. But I have changed A's position and it's in the middle here because it helps me to understand, because I have changed this here, it helps me to memorize the value of the letters much easier than if it were just ABC, because it's just how I related to it. Okay, so when it comes to 9, of course 9 is the last digit. You begin again with I. It would be JKLMNOPQR, and you go STUV, and it goes on like this. So each column, of course, has the numerical value here with the letters. So Fox, for instance, is 6, New is 5, and it goes on like this. But when we add each letter with their value, for instance 5, we have 3 5s here, which the word is new, that becomes 15. So the 15, we add 1 and 5, always add the digits till you get a single digit. It gives you 6 here. So of course I will talk about these words here, water and revelation and television. I will touch on this, but just to concentrate on here for now, which we will cover in this part. So here we are. These are the letters. As I said before, I had no inclination to change. I wasn't, it seemed like we could say I wasn't able to change, but it seemed that it was like, I get the impression that there was a wave of energy going around, and there was a template that, like an ice tray with different shapes, and it just captured that energy and it was set. And this is why how we get those letters. But also it seemed like that side must have had an additional element to it that meant as if you just couldn't do much with it. Hence, we have headquarters. Everywhere you go in the world has headquarters. Everywhere you go has inland revenue. The gypsy journey, people are traveling all the time. Of course, the foxes. If you don't see a real fox, there you see someone perhaps behaving like a fox. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. So, And of course, there's always newness in our life. Every time we are making a decision, every time we are doing something new, we are faced with a question. In fact, it is said that anything we are doing, as soon as you have finished doing it, like I finished completing one sentence, there is an element of a break, and that's a newness, because after one sentence, of course, begin another. So there is the newness, and we can see that, hey, it's like patterns of waves. We don't really take time to go into those small segments. We just have chunks and chunks and chunks. But I believe when it is said that the answer of anything that we are looking for is within us, is that we are not taking time to really dissect those little parts and little segments and see what lies therein. Okay. So we have this newness and we have the developmental stage. The developmental stage I really do love. Somehow it gives me a sense of feeling, I think it would perhaps go like your last year in uni, or you've turned 18, or you become an adult, that sort of thing. It probably would denote that sort of era in your life where you are making a major decision and you are familiarizing yourself with where you want to go, where you at, and who you want to be, and so on. So that is a stage that I think is presented here, that developmental stage, which is showing it's like Mother Eve has now been ready to release you into the world, but her presence is still there to guide you. And of course, with having this sign here, she's still reflected here again in the new. So when you are ready to, well, you've gone uni, or you're ready to get married and have a family, or you do ask, you have her consultation, you seek her consultation, you seek that new, well, and there you are planning your wedding together. You're planning your new life together, taking you into a new era. Now, now this is interesting because it also reminds me of the text that when you in Christ, you are a new not only you are a new creature, but you are the church, you are the bride, and this here you are the bride, and Christ is the, I think he's the groom, and you are the church. And it's not, oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. This is lovely. There's WED. Okay, ING. Take you, but, and there's the N as well. So, it's like saying, when am I gonna get ready? And it's like, men, you could turn this upside down, and this is men as well. So this is the era. This is the era of there's a partnership, but it's a partnership to merge and to move into a new direction. Hence, there's the fox. Okay, so with the fox, of course, on that journey, you have now, whether you have your partner, because you are two here, 3 and 3 is 6. So your W, I have made presentations on that. W is the two of you. Now this may sound strange, but it is really double. Double is 2. Double is 2 in everything. You is you. And yet we hadn't seen that we are W. So when you get your other part, your other you, and you are moving into this new direction, you have on this fox, which is presenting here that 6, which you are. And of course you are 3, and 3 is 6. So you are going into this direction. You are doing your journey. You're doing your fox journey. You're going in, well, fox learning whatever it is you do. You are building your house, you're building your nest, you are becoming cunning, you are being smart, you you are training your nose to know where to be protected and what to do and not do. So you are being fox here. In fact, you are building your ladder or your house here, which is represented by the A, which is the A a lot of people are looking to be doing in all sorts of ways. You are climbing a ladder, which you are learning to climb this ladder because you'll have to come down again and here. But you get tested on this journey because there's a T here. It's like the T is saying a no through road. You may have to, with the Y, begin here again or go back to that fox journey again and find another way around to go into headquarters zone. Yeah. Now the T also reflects in this department here. This department here, if you follow my honeybee or honey presentations or anything with honey, you might see or agreement, you will see what this T here also represents, like a nail. This is the department where a tube, an agreement, you are in agreement there. It's a tube. Sometimes you are having such a good time there, you are not realizing or recognizing that you are making some kind of agreement here. And that agreement, you may have to revisit that agreement. You may have to, in your revisitation to that agreement, decide, well, I don't want to be part of this, which there is an element you can't break anyway, because we all go through that stage in some way or another. But you will be able to at least familiarize yourself with parts of the contract you sign there, or know the description of what or job description, so to speak, or what is expected of you, or what you are meant to be doing. So it's all reading the fine prints if you get a chance to do that. So basically, you are going through these positions here, but the idea is, and this is where the young ruler, as I've said, asks Christ, what can I do to enter the kingdom of heaven? So the kingdom of heaven, I believe, is really in the 8. It's really in the 8. It's like we go through that stage where you are going in the right direction, but you have paid all your dues, you have done all the mundane things, you are kind, you are a good person, and you know that, but there is something that beckons you to that says to you, there is more, there is something more I am meant to be doing, there is something required of me. I'm not sure what it is. And so you ask him, of course, I wonder what it is I'm meant to be doing. And he says, go and sell all you have to the poor. Now, there is another part that doesn't really state the poor, but I think I did see the poor, and I'm thinking, well, if it's poor, what can the poor pay for your big riches, your big mansions, or whatever it is? What can the poor give you for that? So that is really saying it's the time to release yourself of things you don't need, the things that have been weighing you down, the things that, and it, because we are so accustomed to carrying those things, as I state in the Crimson Light, one of my books, is that we get so attached to things, even if they don't serve us, it becomes very difficult to let go. And this is what that number 9 is saying to us. It's really giving us, or the 8 as well. This is where we get that consultation. This is where we get our bill that says you owe XYZ, or you have to pay XYZ. And there, or talk about Z, yes, XYZ, well, okay, XYZ. This is interesting. Okay, that's quite interesting. So this is your bottom line. It's on the bottom line, it's signed, and you have to honor it to the inland revenue. So this is the assessment is made there. I like that. There's something about my eyes just see certain things like zoom. I just love it. Isn't that delicious? That's wonderful. Okay, so there we are. I believe we have dealt with this part here. Of course, the X, as I say, if you're new, this is meant to be X because we know when we are in a certain area, we need to get our orientation, together. And this is familiarizing ourselves with that. And I believe that's what the cross signifies as well. Okay. So, Revelation, we have been using Revelation because Revelation is really fantastic. Revelation equals 13, but 3 and 1 or 1 and 3 is 4. And that 4 also correlates with the 4 seasons and all the 4 gospels and the 4 elements and the 4 corners of your house and the 4 corners of your room, the 4 corners of your bed, your north, south, east, and west, your head, your arms and your feet together, hence again the cross with Jesus Christ on it. So we see those 4. Also, we have done presentation on one of my elders on my journey to actualizing self-full love, which is presence, and presence is everywhere. So 4 correlates with presence. 4 correlates with Father. The Father, when you go to bed in the West, the word West also, just to make sure that I've got this right, W-E-S-T, that's 2, 3, and 5, 8. Okay, so this is easier like this. 5 and 5, 10, and 3, 13. So 13, 1 and 3 is 4. Just want to make sure I've got the cover to this. Okay, so 1 and 3 is 4, and so we see that in the West is 4, in the East is 9. This is where the sun, S-O-N, so this is here 5 and 6, 11 and 1. 11 and 1 is 12. So we see the sun as sun is 3. Now that 3 again, as I've covered before, is representing this 3 here. This is what we are. This is what the cell we are. It's like a wiggly worm. Hence, there's something that I believe is exactly what Christ meant when he says, I was a worm or I am a worm. But of course, I will do presentations on that because I have found some lovely texts to kind of substantiate some points here. And it doesn't really mean it in that sense as a wiggly worm, but it's the shape of the cells or the cells that move, or the waves or the vibrations that moves. And that's what that 3 is. Now if we done in the East, we see SUN, that is 5, 3, 1. So 5 and 3 is 8 and 1, 9. So this is the 9 here. So we see the sun. Now the sun is 9, the sun is 3. Now there is always that talk about the Son and the Father, but also we have been told that we have been given the spirit of sound mind. Oh man, something has just come up on the screen. Let me just take this off. Okay, so we have been given the spirit of sound mind. That means we also relate to sound. So the sun and the sun is really one and the same. 3 3s are 9. And so we see that happens. There's a wonderful balance with all of this. But that's subject to, review. Okay. Now, the other thing that I would really want to cover here is the revelation, as I said. Revelation, in fact, I was looking at um, one of the presentations, and I thought, wow, it's really just wonderful. Evelation, 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 revelation. It's like elevation, because it seemed like we could just swap these two here, because we have talked about this in other presentations. The V is also a lever that you can, it's as if it was an axle, and it had a hinge or something here. So you can brace it up. It can be a V, it can be an L, vice versa with the L and the V. So we could really see this here as elevation, but it's like the R. It's like it's showing that there's a promise, because that's what revelation is about. Revelation is revealing, it uncovers, it moves. It doesn't just, you don't just look at it and it's like this. You've got to be doing something, and it's revealing itself to you. So the R here corresponds perfect with, because it's of 10 letters. That's the other thing. It's of 10 letters. And so, but it correlates with, I'll just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's correct. And ends with N. So it correlates, this R correlates with that R. It's like a continuation, as if we only needed one R to get that template completed. But of course, it's reflecting that here, and then we could say perhaps it's really serving us that position, so that all the other letters can just hold that position here, so it stops us from moving things to this side. And I think, of course, everything has a purpose. So wow, okay, so I'm wondering whether to, okay, I'll just continue with this, and over time I'll do another presentation on these templates, just to refresh us. So we have water. We have water because we felt water was very transparent. We are looking at things because from the words that we have got from sacrifice, there have been a lot of transparencies, things like rise, and I'm trying to think of things, of course, tears, things that one could reflect. So water seemed to be doing the same thing. When you look into water, there's reflection. And of course, we see the same with revelation and television. But what happened is, television I've got with the T, but it's really with the S. It would be interesting to see how it works with the S for us. But it's really, while I say television, because I realize that the word television really came from revelation. It's just that few okay, revelation, television. So it's the R and the S, but it seemed to be a reflection, of course, or a derivative of revelation. That's the point. Okay, so I think that would really make sense for now. If you choose to go over this, and perhaps it will make more sense to you when you visit or watch the presentations, so you know what you are hinging on. And in the meantime, if you like this presentation, click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-full love. Stay blissful, be filled, and be bright, and stay ignited. Namaste. Spill over with love.